Okay, so we're going to be looking at manipulating the compound interest formula today. I've got an example here ready to go, and what we're really looking at finding is principal and rate. We don't really go into looking at time because you have to use logarithms to do that. Not something we're going to do in Maths A. So, Carla invests $45,000 in a fund that compounds 6 monthly. So after 5 years, her investment is worth $70,000, $555.26. What was the interest rate per annum? Okay, so the first thing we need to do is write our formula. $109, just checking. NT. Okay, and then just like we did when we manipulated the simple interest formula, we plug in what we know. So off to the side here, I'm just going to make sure that we know what we've got. So our total amount is $70,555.26. Our principal, the original amount she invested, $45,000. Our rate is unknown. Our time is 5 years. And our rests 6 monthly, so that means twice a year. 2. Okay, so basically we plug in what we know into our formula here. So 75.55 is our amount. Principal, 45,000. 1 plus the rate is unknown, that's what we're trying to find. 100 times, and n is 2 because it's every 6 months, and 2 times 5, 5 being the time in years. Okay, so from there we're just going to simplify that down a little, get my calculator out. So it's still going to equal the 70,000 and whatnot. Do my 45,000. But over here, I can do 1 plus r over 200 to the power of 10. 2 5s are 10. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this 45,000 because all of this is in brackets with a 10. I've had to sort of build all the way up to this, and then I've multiplied all of this by 45,000. So I'm just going to do the opposite. So to undo that, I'm going to divide by 45,000 on both sides. That will get rid of the 45,000 from here, and I'm going to divide this side. So 70,000, I pop it into my calculator, 70,555.26 divided by 45,000, and it gives me 1.5678, and it continues on. Okay, and that leaves me with my 1 plus r over 200 to the power of 10. Okay. Next, I'm going to get rid of this power of 10. Yeah. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the 10th root. Okay, so this is to the power of. So if I put something, just as a quick reminder, if I went 2 to the power of 2, that's 2 squared. The opposite of that is the square root of 2. Well, the square root of the answer, sorry, that's really bad. 2 to the power of 2 is 2 times 2, which is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. Yeah, so this is 4, and this is equal to 2. They undo, they're the opposite. So if I take the 10th root on this side, and it's indice laws, because it's an exponent, I have to do it as a fraction. So I'm just going to go 15679, just going to round that to a 10th. Okay, and then that will just leave me with my 1 plus r over 200. Okay, then if I actually put that into my calculator to the power of 1/10, I end up with 1.0460. Okay, and I'm still left with 1 plus r over 200. So next, I'll get rid of that 1, yeah? So I'm going to subtract 1. So if I subtract 1 from this, I'm 0.0460. Okay, and that leaves me with r over 200. Next, to get r on its own, I'm going to, instead of dividing by 200, I'm going to multiply by 200. So if I multiply, it leaves me r, so I multiply on this side, and it gives me 9.200, and there's a lot of zeros and then some other numbers, so I will round that to 9.2, 2 decimal places. So basically, then I can write my therefore statement, just down the bottom here. So the investment interest rate on Carla's fund was 9.2% per annum. Okay, and that we can find rate, then we can find principal. So we can find both of those two using the same method. So I'm just going to clear this off and write up the next problem. Okay, so this one we're going to be looking at finding the principal. So Peter receives $14,059.91 after investing in a fund for 24 months that paid 8% per annum interest, compounding quarterly. So we need to find out how much Peter initially invested. So again, let's write our formula. Bit squeaky. Okay, and over here we'll just identify what we know. So amount, yep, he receives $14,059.91. Principal, we don't know how much he invested. Time, 24 months, so that's 2 years, yeah, 24 months. Rate of 8% per annum. Compounding quarterly, so quarterly means four times a year, every quarter. So now we're just going to plug in what we know. So $14,059.91 is the total amount. The principal is unknown. Our rate is 8. Our N is 4. And then 4 and our T being 2 years, 24 months. Next, we simplify a little there. So we can bring this down. If I actually go 8 over 400, 8 divided by 400 and add 1, I actually get 1.02. So 8 divided by, so 100 times 4 is 400, 8 over 400. 8 divided by 400 plus 1, 1.02, and 4 2s are 8. From there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put that to the power of 8. So actually calculate that. This one's really easy because the P is out here on its own already. So if I go 1.02 to the power of 8, I get 1.171659, and it continues. We keep going. So to get P on its own, I'm just going to divide by, because I'm multiplying by this number, divide by 1.171659 and its continuation. So if I then divide by that number, I get 11,999 and 9978 continues. So what we're going to do is we're going to round that. So if I actually round this money-wise, so if I round 2 decimal places, this 7 tells me this goes up, all the way up it goes, so 12,000. Therefore, Peter initially invested some more paint on there, $12,000. And that is it. So make sure that you can find principal when you're not given a principal, but you're given the other information, and make sure that you can find rate. I started with rate because it can be a little trickier. Principal, you just sort of working all this out first and then just dividing to get P on its own. Rate's a little more complicated. Make sure you practice.